welcome to Reaction Time, the show where psychologists watch and react to media portrayals of other psychologists.
Ever wonder how accurately therapy is portrayed in your favorite shows? You're about to find out.
I am Dr. Rachel Kowert, Doctor of Psychology and Resident Research Psychologist.
I'm Dr. Sarah Hayes, Doctor of Counseling Psychology and Resident Licensed Practitioner.
And together, we know just enough to ruin any and all television and film portrayals of therapy and therapists. Small disclaimer before we get started, television and film representations of therapy are often exaggerated to make for more compelling TV. So that's something to keep in mind.
And as is common in real therapy, the programs we're going to be watching and discussing may bring up themes of trauma, suicidal ideation, and other triggering topics. So please feel free to step away to take care of yourself as you need.
So what do we have today, Sarah?
So today we're going to be taking on a relatively old show called In Treatment. Currently, we're going to be watching it via HBO Max. It recently got a reboot, but before we get to the reboot, we're going to start with the original.
I'm going to be honest, I'm super excited about this. I haven't seen the show in many years since it was new, so it was a long time ago. But I remember loving this show. Have you seen it before?
I haven't watched a moment of it. I've been so excited to, though.
I'm very excited. Let's do it. Laura, it looks like. Laura, week 1.
Arguably one of the more awkward parts of therapy. Not that I find it awkward, like, to be with my clients, but just what do you do when to say something? It's a tentative moment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do? You offer the tissues.
Hold the pain. Offer the tissues. Yeah.
Offer the tissues.
Yeah.
I told you.
Told me what?
You'd be sorry you ever encouraged me to cry here.
I'm not sorry at all.
You didn't expect it to be like this, I bet.
Like what?
You know what? It's disappointing. I thought I'd feel better, relieved.
People have a lot
It'd
of
be a lot more fun.
expectations of therapy.
But it isn't.
For sure.
It's horrible. I don't know if I'm able to talk today, Paul.
Crying doesn't always make you feel better.
Correct. But again, it's usually cathartic.
Yeah.
I should just called it off. I'm sorry.
Are you all right?
Ooh.
Sit down.
Body contact. Ooh.
All right, wait. Pause it. Pause it,
Okay,
Sarah.
all right, we're pausing.
How do we feel about body contact in therapy?
So this is an ethical gray area. So if we think about body contact, when it is culturally relevant, it is a thing to consider. So for example, if I were working with a client whose culture was very much about giving a hug and greeting, that's something I would consider. But by and large, it's usually rather discouraged, just because the intimacy of a therapeutic relationship is so that you don't want to push that boundary, because not that I shouldn't speak royally for the entirety of the practice, but like, not that I assume all of my clients are going to ever want to have a romantic or intimate relationship with me, but they're opening up, they're becoming incredibly vulnerable, and I want to create a professional space, and the energy of that's incredibly important. Now, that said, him grabbing her hand like that.
She was falling. I mean, yeah, so that's okay. But
let me hold your hand and make prolonged eye contact.
Yeah.
That was a strange way to show a therapeutic attachment in transition. That is like the first thing we learn in ethics class is don't have sex with your clients. And one of the most common tropes in portrayals of therapy. It
was a little awkward. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes.
Okay. Hot out the gate, 1 minute in.
Waited for the sun to come up.
Does he live here?
I never waited.
Yes, this is a home practice.
For sunrise. So maybe on a camping trip in 5th grade.
Why?
What?
Thank you.
Have you seen The Sixth Sense?
Felt like forever for 1 minute to turn into the next. thought to myself, how stupid is this? Dying on the street like roadkill outside your therapist's office.
He's being very dismissive.
You think?
Yes.
I think he's being reflective. You think that he's being dismissive?
Yes.
I think that he's holding the space
Fair.
by not interjecting. That's how I interpreted it. But you think he should be... She is saying some things that are...
like this, like...
Okay, you're looking at body language.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But
Okay,
I mean,
I'm going to have a look.
That's
at the body
nitpicky,
language.
you know?
It's not. No, it's not, because as a clinician, you are taught all of these things, where your chair should be positioned, open body posture or closed, right? You're taught all these things.
Totally. Yes. You're not supposed to cross your legs and your arms. You can only cross one. Like, that's the level that we were taught.
Yeah. So it is important. All right, I'm going to look at his body language.
They are doing a great job of having her be a character who's like dismissive and trying to constantly deflect and exit. Mm-hmm. So I think that was
like a real client.
Correct. Yeah, like a real human.
Just a sec.
Laura, the call can wait.
Good boundary.
Threw a tantrum like a 3-year-old. Screamed, cried. Told him to fuck off. Told him he was a little piece of shit for doing this to me when he knows I'm working double shifts at the hospital this week. I slammed the door, smashed his laptop on the floor, and killed it.
Oh,
I ran out and I called Alona.
That escalated.
Aggressive.
Yeah.
It's not mine. We went out for a drink at a club that she likes on Chester Street. Oh, she tried to calm me down, put things into perspective. And she said that I was lucky. That she wished somebody loved her enough to give her an ultimatum.
Okay, can we stop?
Yes.
Are ultimatums a sign of love? Because I feel like they're not very loving ultimatums, generally speaking.
No, I think that that's really toxic.
What I gather is he was crying because he wants to get married and she seems unwilling to commit to that. But then she took his laptop and smashed it and then went to the club. I don't know. That seems like, is that if this was your client, does that seem like a typical reaction to that situation? It seems quite aggressive.
Of course
not.
Okay. It's incredibly dysregulated. And I feel like it's one of those, like, clearly it's upsetting and dysregulating to have this situation occur where he's putting your feet to the coals and saying you need to make a decision. But I feel like he's doing a great job. They're portraying him very well, of him just sitting and listening and holding space. Yeah.
I'm curious how he's going to respond to this now, because I think what he's doing now is, yes, a very accurate representation of what a therapist would do. Wait for this story to be told, hold the space.
Yes. Yep.
I'm curious what the intervention is going to be now.
Which I think she's doing. I think they're structuring it on purpose. So she's doing all of this info dumping, which can happen in a real client therapist relationship, or just like general conversation, where we'll info dump in order to like avoid consequences for certain parts of our discussion, or to overwhelm the other person. Like, it seems very much she's continually testing his boundaries, which is something we'll see sometimes. So
definitely,
she may also be fishing for reactions, which does occur sometimes.
What do you think? I mean, do I look good when I'm sad?
Ooh, dangerous.
Red flag 3.
I don't think anybody looks good when they're sad.
There you go.
Good response.
Cliche. So at this point, it's clear that the conversation is going to a point towards which we're going to be talking about what seems as if it is murky consensual sex, but it is murky. And so if that is a triggering topic to you, please go ahead and take a little break and
skip this part.
Yep. Come back in a couple minutes.
Seems like quite a night out.
Yeah, well, that's not the end of it, because this idiot, I told him I'm really sorry, but I have a boyfriend. I can't do this. And he laughs in my face and says, boo-hoo. And he grabs my hands and he says, listen, Cupcake, you think you can leave me high and dry like this? Pointing at his dick. The least you can do is make it up to me.
No.
I said to him, what do you want? You want some money? He said, give me a hand job and there'll be no hard feelings. And I said to him, what's the matter with you? Are you crazy? And it was just getting really strange. I mean, it was tense. His tone changed. I didn't run. I gave him the hand job. Excuse me.
I guess she knows where the bathroom is.
After all.
We talked about what happened at the club last night, but we never got back to actually talking about
Okay, first
Andrew
gripe.
and that.
First gripe. Why
That's
is
a gripe? I thought that was good.
That's
Tell
great.
me.
But he basically let her drop this bomb in his lap about how she did something completely non-consensual. And then is like, so let's move on.
Okay, so you think he should be talking about how she feels about the bathroom situation more than circling back to the argument with Andrew?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I would be checking in with my client to see if they feel violated, if they feel okay, because frankly, like in hetero situations and heteronormative situations, that interaction, kind of the safety of the woman in that scenario is often what compels people to comply with sexual demands. And so it's like, she probably didn't want to give him a handy, but she was
I think definitely not.
forced into it, basically compelled into it, because his mannerism changed. He was becoming strange. Clearly he was escalating the threat level.
Intimidating, yeah.
Yeah. And saying that, like, you know, she dragged him all the way in here. There's some kind of there's a sort of like give and take there, but no.
Yeah. No, definitely no.
You could be naked in front of somebody and be promising sex all along and then change your mind and that, you know what, you owe them nothing. And it was so compelling of a story. Like, clearly it wasn't just punctuation for conversation that she stepped into the restroom. Like, it made her sick thinking about it. It was emotionally volatile in that situation and beyond. So that's gripe number one.
What do you mean?
Do you think that Andrew, just out of the blue, as you said yourself, came up with this idea of an ultimatum? Did you notice anything over the last couple of days or weeks that you think might have brought this on?
Nothing. I don't know. He just lost it. I mean, shit, don't you know that men are the new women? Obsessed with weddings.
Wait.
And lately he's lost touch with reality. He thinks
that is not a comment that aged well.
Dinner, and he had this look on his face. He had this sad look, and I could just tell something was up. I mean, you can just tell, right? And I said to him, what's going on? And he said, I don't know what I want. I just know I don't want this on and off thing. So I said to him, sure, and then let's just decide. Either we get married or we split.
So you were the one who came up with it?
With what?
The ultimatum.
No, he's the one. He had the problem with the on and off thing, not me.
Yeah, but on and off can mean several things. You were the one who made it specific. Get married or to split up. That was your ultimatum.
No. He had this thing with this on and off. The ultimate.
That was a good confrontation.
That was beautiful.
I wasn't suggesting that we split up. That's not the point.
So what do you think was the point of this argument that you may have initiated?
I didn't initiate anything.
No, you may not have meant to, but you did. It sounds like you wanted to bring this relationship into crisis.
He's direct and I love it.
I know you say that Andrew hates uncertainty.
It's my therapy style.
Perhaps you're the one who can't
Same.
live with him.
I've been unfaithful to him for a long time.
So why haven't we talked about this before?
I think we have.
Oh, I hate that moment. I hate that moment
It's been
so
here
much.
all along.
You're like, have we?
You mean to say you've never noticed it?
But now she's admitting her feelings for him, which is a tough.
You're surprised.
Because we don't.
No, I'm not surprised. I don't follow what you mean.
I think he actually doesn't follow, even though you and I are onto it.
Yeah. Thus is watching TV.
This isn't the reaction I was hoping for.
How long have you felt like this?
A year. From the first session. I thought it'd go away. I thought it's just an infatuation, that's all.
Which often,
It's getting worse.
if that situation comes up, that's what it is.
You've become the center of my life.
And it dissipates over time.
Yeah.
Laura, I'm your therapist.
Right.
The parameters and the limitations
Well done.
are established and ethically defined.
Oh, that is rare in TV.
Yes.
I'm not an option.
Very direct.
You
Proud of
made
you, HBO.
I know it can never happen. I know it. So don't worry. I'm not gonna start showing up here. I'm not gonna start stalking you like
And it's his house.
Glenn Close in that movie.
Why would you even bring that up?
I'm not gonna boil your kid's rabbit. I'm not
Oh my God.
dangerous.
Why are you
It's not
saying
you.
that?
I feel like I came here in the dark and I'm leaving into a bigger darkness.
Right.
What am I gonna do now?
We'll talk about it next week. Okay?
Okay.
What did you think? What did you think? Overall impressions.
So, first of all, I think that this show does a better job than most of portraying the clinical experience. I thought the little touches were nice. The clock behind her shoulder, the way the environment was set up. It looked like a comfy place. This looks like a therapy office. And I appreciated the ethical boundary setting. I mean, other than the handhold, pretty good portrayal. And I mean, I get why that was put in there in a way to like catch her while she's falling, but also kind of misconstrue. So overall, more satisfied with the result than most programs that I've seen.
Yeah, I remember when this show came out, I was doing my master's. So all of this stuff was very fresh in my mind about, the art of therapy. And I remember watching it and being like, this is the best representation I've ever seen on television of accurate-ish therapy. I love Gabriel Byrne just generally. And there's that. The other thing I love about this show, we're not gonna watch other episodes in the series, but I love every episode. There's like 5 or 6 clients. So you'll see his Monday client and his Tuesday client and his Wednesday client. I think it's a really clever way of doing the show. And then you see Laura week 2 and then Mike week 2 and you see it in a certain order and you see all their storylines play out. It is really interesting. So if you want to watch it later, I will throw a spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. They definitely sleep together, but it is a television show. Roll, eye roll. That is the one thing about this show that I didn't like. I will say, generally speaking, I think it's a great representation of therapy, very, very accurate. But therapists do not sleep with their clients as often as you see on TV.
No, I'm disappointed that they have sex eventually.
I know.
She's got
it
some
is
really.
disappointing.
I feel like if I were her provider, I would sit there and talk to her about her really toxic relationship with her sexuality. Not that like she's toxic. Being straight is no. But like she uses her sexuality as her value. She's using her sexuality as a trading piece for affection and admiration, and she is pushing herself at men in order to achieve that goal. Now that's a trope that's very common in TV and is very like cliche, but that's what I would be talking to her about is like have sex with who you want to have sex with. Don't compromise your value as a human whether or not you open your legs. Like
Yeah, and if I recall correctly, it has been many years. I don't think that theme is touched upon at all. in her therapy.
TV.
Yeah, I mean, TV has its limitations, but it is a show worth watching. If you haven't seen it, to those out there, I would definitely recommend the show. I really enjoyed it. Now, next time Dr. Sarah and I meet, we're going to watch the reboot. It's recently been rebooted, which I have not seen. So it's going to be a tough bar to hit because my memory of this show is just of love and adoration. So we'll see how the reboot holds up.
I really have high hopes for it. Fingers crossed, because knowing who's in it, phenomenal acting. Can't wait.
Yes, and I don't know if it does the same structure, but I saw briefly that the first client is the guy who plays John Lawrence in Hamilton, which I'm obsessed with. So we do have a good cast to look forward to.
This ticks a lot of boxes. Okay.
It does. So until next time, thank you all for joining us.
Thank you, and we'll see you.